Quick warning, just in case you didn't catch the explicit filter on this episode, if you've got little ears around, you may want to listen to this one a different time. Podcasting from my closet in northern Japan, this is Reimagining Hustle, a podcast for entrepreneurial parents creating a life where business and parenthood live peacefully in the same space. I'm your host, Roxanne Market, a mom of two, microbusiness coach, and serial entrepreneur on a journey to prove that it is possible to do what you love without sacrificing all your precious time. Let's do this. Welcome back to Reimagining Hustle. I am thrilled to chat with my guest today. I have Lainne with me. Lainne, welcome.
Hi, I'm so happy to be here too.
This is going to be really fun. I definitely have Google stalked you and done the whole. I've done my research, my homework, right, as a podcast host. So I'm excited to dive in and get to know you a little bit. Will you tell us about you? Tell us about the work you do and your journey to get there.
I would love to. The fancy part of me is I am an award-winning intuitive business coach and author and leading edge healer. But the authentic, just me is I'm a mama and a mystic and a CEO of my little company and just a seeker. Like everyone, I'm just trying to figure it out. And I think maybe the difference with me is I find figuring it out really interesting and exciting.
That makes sense. So you use this word intuitive coach, and I've heard this term thrown around. Can you tell us more about what that means?
Yeah, why intuitive is in there is because spirituality is the foundation of the work that I do. And that mystic part as well. I have been a student of mystery schools, and ritual and ceremony and spiritual foundation are paramount to my life, um, to being grounded and calm, and just knowing myself and being connected to myself and my son and the earth, like in a more profound, enriching way, is the intuitive part. I mean, we are all intuitive, all of us human beings, and we can relate to that. It's just a skill that I've been interested in developing. And so it naturally comes out in every aspect of my life. And so you're not just going to sit down with me and do a coaching session and it's just going to be like all strategy and A plus B equals C. Sure, there's some of that, but more often than not, it's what are the intuitive insights? And intuition just has a lot to do with listening. You become a really great listener.
That makes a lot
So
of
that's
sense.
why intuitive.
I appreciate you letting me ask that. I saw that on something, and I thought, this is one I see a lot, but I've never really n- been able to ask somebody that question. So I appreciate it. And then this word seeker as well, you use. How do you find that in your experience, at least in your life, have you always been that seeker, or do you feel like you had to relearn that skill of being a seeker?
Oh no, I've always been so curious about life. There's so many cool things to do and know and learn and experience. And um, but in terms of seeker, I think that word is more often used like in this spiritual context, like we're seeking for something more or greater than ourselves or within. And both are true for me. Ever since I can remember, I was interested in magic and angels and the other, the unseen, the unknown. But I was also really grounded in science and physiology, and anatomy and more tangible subjects. So I love life and the experiences that we can have.
Oh, that's fascinating. That's fascinating. So how long have you been a coach?
I feel like my whole life.
Yeah.
I mean, literally, I coached other kids in high school. I was also a peer counselor in high school.
Okay.
I worked with disabled children. I've done volunteer work in hospice with adults and with children. Um, I've been a teacher I taught preschool in 3 different countries. That's not coaching, but it is coaching. I mean, teaching is
Certain.
essentially coaching.
There's so much overlap.
Yeah. So I've just always been that person. So I resisted the title coach for a long time, and but oddly enough, I won an award for coaching. So since I really embraced it, I am a coach. I love being a coach. I love the flexibility that it offers in a title.
Mm, that makes a lot of sense. So tell us the award that you won. Tell us about that one.
It's a spiritual excellence award for coaching. Um, and it was definitely a surprise. Yeah, at first I thought I was being spammed when
Oh,
I when I got
that's fair.
the email. Like, yes, sure. I've been nominated. If I give you my credit card information,
Right, right.
I'm sure I'll get the award.
Yes.
But then I looked into the Halo Awards, and no, it's like it's a real thing. There are thousands, tens of thousands of people that participate and that nominate of practitioners and professionals around the globe. I mean, it's predominantly centered in recognizing North American professionals, but there are global nominations,
Mhm.
and there were 60,000 um, nominations. So it's not a small thing.
No.
Um, and so, yes, that's what I received, a Spiritual Excellence Award, Halo Award as a coaching professional. So I I really take that into my heart, and um, feel really honored once I had figured it out that it was a real thing and I
It
wasn't being
wasn't
spammed.
spam. Yeah.
I was just really truly honored to be nominated and recognized in my profession, and by other professionals and clients. Um, And then I thought, well, it's that one award, that one nomination. That's nice, and that person
Right.
nominated me. um, and then I ended up winning the award. So it
That's so
was
cool.
definitely more than one person.
Yes.
But
Yes,
even
that's
if it
so
had
cool.
been,
Oh, yeah, right?
that's
Even
like,
if it was just one. Mhm.
yeah, it really touched my heart, and shifted something within me. Recognition. Um, and celebration are such an important part of life, and also of honoring yourself along the journey. And I don't think that we do that often enough for ourselves, and
Mm.
not even so much enough for other people, but certainly not for ourselves. So I really embrace the whole process, and I'm the better for
I love that.
it.
To receive it in such a way. What a beautiful thing. So that leads me to my next question. I wonder, what does success look like to you personally? And then as you coach as well, how do you coach quote unquote success?
It's really different for everyone. I mean, especially when you have like a global audience, um, depending on where you live in the world, there's certainly cultural factors that affect people's definition of success. But I think it's really an individual thing. What's written on somebody's heart is not written on the next person's heart. And success is feeling that peace within yourself every day. Um, but also a sense of like enthusiasm for your life and for the day. When you have peace and enthusiasm, um, I think you like hit that sweet spot. Enthusiasm for life and for continuing on and for growing, and peace, and that you're fine with being where you are and fine with being where your journey has taken you. And it sounds really easy. And it is easy, but it's just really not that simple. But once we allow ourselves to figure that out, uh, it becomes easier to accept and easier to experience. and life can become a little bit more fun and goals are, a little bit easier to reach because we've removed a certain amount of pressure and force that we're always exuding and trying to like make something be or happen. But the truth is, and the magic is where we're able to relax into things a little bit more. And we still have to take action steps. Don't get me wrong, there's a lot of action that's involved, but it's action combined with allowance and relaxing.
Action combined with allowance and relaxing. That's interesting. Has your own personal definition of success changed throughout your life, do you think?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, there's so much conditioning from many different aspects in our lives, whether it's just our family, culturally, socially. I mean, we're all familiar with all the ways in which we can feel pressure or feel like, our lives have to look like whatever they have to look like because that's the expectation. I think the more that we're able to free ourselves of those restrictions, of somebody else's restrictions or somebody else's definition of what, our life should be or success looks like, then it becomes easier to navigate or understand what your personal definition is. So, yeah, I started off thinking it had to be one way, and then softened into, well, actually, that's not accurate, was beaten down into really by
Mm.
life, right? 'Cause we got uh life can chew us up and spit us out, and more often than not does in several different cycles. And
So
it's
true.
right. It's about getting back up and also just shifting how you experience that being knocked down and experience getting back up again. And like, what's the meaning that you give it? um, and what is the wisdom that you can gain from it? Because it's never really going to stop. Once you've reached one level, then there's a new challenge for you to experience, um, and that's the beauty of life.
Mhm. Mhm. What a great perspective. Now you are a mom as well, and
Yeah.
to a 6-year-old, correct?
Yes, yeah, I'm blessed. My master teacher in my life
Mm.
and greatest blessing is my son. He shows me all the ways that I get to, if I choose to, and I do, be a better version of myself.
Mhm,
I've seen my ugliest self in being a parent and my best self in being a parent.
mhm.
So, yeah, he is a neurodivergent child. So he comes with, extra gifts.
Yes, yes. So he's changed you, obviously. I love how you call him your master teacher. Were you an entrepreneur before you were a parent?
Yes, I've
Okay.
always, not, yeah, for the most part of my career, entrepreneurship or working for myself in some capacity has been a part of my identity and experience.
Mhm. How has it changed your entrepreneurship? Because I feel like it has to, right? Being a parent changes everything. How has it changed your entrepreneurship?
Well, being a parent is you're being a leader. And when you have a business, you're being a leader. And when you have employees, you are a leader. So, and how you do anything is how you do everything.
Yeah.
So, being a parent provides me the opportunity to look at how I'm communicating,
Mm,
how effective I'm being in that communication. How am I giving directions and instructions? Where am I becoming frustrated from having to repeat the same thing over and over again? But was I clear the first time? Where am I jumping to conclusions? Uh, where am I becoming short? Or on like the positive side, well, those are positive things because any opportunity to be a better version of yourself and grow is a positive thing. But also, how can I be more playful? How can I make this more fun? How can I pivot and create something new, or how can I problem solve in a different way if this isn't working? Because parenting, um, parenting in general, but certainly parenting a neurodivergent child, you have to be really, really quick in problem solving and really, really quick with being able to shift.
Mm.
Um, if something isn't working, so you become also a really good observer. Um, and back to intuition again. Also, just feeling into the room, feeling into the environment, feeling when that shift needs to happen. So, I mean, parenting mirrors business and entrepreneurship over and over and over again. So, I mean, every parent has that opportunity to look at that, like, oh, how is this showing up? And as an entrepreneur, or even as an employee,
Yeah.
and vice versa. How am I being at work that I am I taking that home with me? And like when and why, and what are the good things that you could take home with you, and where can you improve?
What a great take. What a great take. Do you ever experience guilt around living in these two worlds at the same time?
Like every second of the day.
Tell us a
you
little bit
know,
more about that.
oh, especially being like spiritual. I mean, sometimes I catch myself, I'll be meditating and my son will come in and interrupt me and I'll be like, Sarah, you're interrupting
Yeah.
me.
Yeah.
Um and then I'll just laugh at myself like, oh yes, so spiritual right now. In the Zen moment. Obviously I'm not Zen. Um and and those moments offer like a nice little break, a nice little check-in for myself when I'm able to laugh at myself. But
Mhm.
I mean, guilt and timing for sure. And, sometimes my child is on the phone for hours and hours and hours because there's things that I need to take care of.
Mhm.
Um, and that's just called life. It's just figuring it out and like being able to forgive yourself and just be okay. And again, what we were just talking about in parenting and business, it's always like looking at what the balance is. Like,
Mhm.
okay, and priorities and balance. So it's just like every day it's an opportunity to look at where did I succeed? Where do I have room for improvement? Um, Choosing a task and priority. What's the most important thing right now?
Mhm.
Sometimes it's the most important thing to be a parent. Sometimes, once all of those things are taken care of, it's the most important thing than taking care of these business things.
Mhm.
But more often than not, as I say that, it's that check in. Like at the end of the day, what matters to you? Like, at the end of the day, if I've, sloughed off my child too many times and they're sad or they're lonely or they're frustrated, was that a fair trade-off? Um, and sometimes the answer, honestly, is yeah, it was because guess what? I like having a home to live in and I
Yeah.
like having food to eat, and I'm sure my child does too.
Mhm.
Um And but probably more often than not, I can put that stuff down. I can
Mhm.
put the work down and I can be present with another human being,
Mm,
my child, more often I can make that choice than not. And I think that we all can,
yeah.
even if it's just for a second. Like if your kid is coming in and interrupting you, are you being like really short and quick and dismissive? Or are you just stopping what you're doing and turn and grab onto their hands or put your hands on their shoulders and actually just look them in their eyes and just give them that second of your full attention and
Mhm.
connection. And often that's just what they needed.
Yeah. They don't need hours and hours, just
No.
moments. Yeah.
So it's really just checking in with yourself every day and like, where would you give yourself some gold stars and where would you give yourself room for improvement? And also talk to your kids about it. I talk to my son about it. I don't think they're ever really too young to talk to and ask them, how did I do today? And also pivoting to also ask your employees, ask your partner, ask more people, check in more. How did I do today? How did I show up? What could I have done better? Those are
Mhm.
questions I ask my son. And those are also questions I ask my employee.
That's awesome. To
And
be so receptive to that feedback too, I think is such a skill.
well, that's called leadership.
Yeah.
Yeah. And that's also how I become a better coach for my clients. I have to be listening to what it is that they want for their lives and what it is that they want out of the experience and how I can support them because we don't need people. Like, we do need people in terms of the fact that we are social creatures.
Right.
But we have the strength and the answers, the ability and the powers within ourselves. We choose to surround ourselves with certain people
Mhm.
because we like who they inspire us to be.
Lainey, what do you wish people knew about living these two worlds at the same time, living this world of parenting and entrepreneurship at the same time?
It's okay. You're okay. It's okay. You're gonna suck up in business and in your relationships, and you're gonna have a heavy heart. And that's okay.
Mhm.
It's just a part of life and it's part of growing. It's a part of the experience. The most important part is when you have those moments and those feelings are just being able to forgive yourself.
Mhm.
And then how we do that is we take responsibility for what happened, for our day, for our choices, for how we showed up or how we didn't.
Mm.
And we say tomorrow is another day, it's another chance. And then, do 1% better or do
Yes.
1% better or do one thing better the next day. And that's a success.
Yeah.
So just be kind to yourself, and definitely take responsibility.
Mhm. Mm. Oh, I love that. Thank you. Lainey, I want to ask you a question about the name of this podcast. So, when I first started my entrepreneur journey, I also was not a parent. And I really loved hustle culture. I really bought into the whole hustle, 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 go, 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 work hard, play hard, but never play because keep working and more, more, more. I bought into it. And then I became a parent and my whole world stopped. And I knew instantly something had to change, that the life I was living was not sustainable. And so I've been on this quest to reimagine what this idea of hustle looks like. And so I would
Yeah.
love to know, how do you reimagine the idea of hustle?
You know, I totally resonate with you in that like go, go, go culture. And there is work to be done, whether that's like, work around the house, or in the internal work or the action steps that you have to take in like day to day in your business. So there is action, but this whole idea like of hustle in that you have to just keep taking action until you're burnt out. No, because when you get too tired, you don't have any room for that intuitive guidance or inspiration. And when you can find that balance between action and intuitive guidance and inspiration, it makes the action steps easier because you're making the right ones. And so you don't have to take 20 steps to get whatever it is that you're trying to get done. Because when you're in inspired action, it only takes like 2 or 3. So when you learn that wisdom or learn to find the balance, then you really see that there isn't a need for a hustle, but there is a need for action.
Mhm. Hey, that might be one of my favorite answers I've ever had to that question. So thank you. I appreciate it. Before we find out where we can find you online, because I want to make sure everybody listening knows where they can get to you, will you please give us just a quick 30-second pep talk for other parents who are on this entrepreneur journey?
Oh man, you can do it. You can do anything. You are a one of a kind wonder. There never has been, never will be another person like you. You are here for a reason. You have gifts, talents, and abilities, and we need you. The world needs you. Your kids need you. And you need to live the greatest, most authentic version of yourself so that you can bring that joy and bring that creativity and bring that innovation and the solutions to the world so that we can ultimately create this a better world for ourselves and for our children, leaving behind us this amazing legacy. You've got it. You've got it in you. You've got it inside of you. Just keep going, and keep going, and love yourself through the process, and definitely love your kids through the process.
Lainey, thank you so much. What a great pep talk, too. We need more of you. Tell us where we can find you online.
You can find me at my website, which is lainey.com. You can find me kind of on Instagram. I show up every now and again, and that's Lainey Love. And you can find me on Amazon or Barnes and Nobles. My book, How to Use Hypnosis to Master Your Brain, is a nice little easy how-to guide on how you can use hypnosis on yourself to just start to create some of these shifts that we're talking about today.
Awesome. And we'll make sure that we link everything in the show notes. Lainey, this has been so inspiring, and I appreciate you giving me the gift of your time.
And Sam, thank you so much. And thank you to all the listeners for taking your time out to be with us and share this moment.
Thanks for listening to Reimagining Hustle with Roxanne Merkett. If you like the show and want more, check out reimagininghustle.com and please leave a review wherever you get your podcasts. We'll be back next week with another episode. See you soon.